So for today's topic, we are going to cover how to add a slot manually in the system. So if a clinical site, called you or emailed you and provided you with the slot, you know how to add that into the system. So we're going to start off by going to clinical sites on the left-hand menu. We're going to hover over that and click on search sites. So then you're going to want to locate the specific site that did provide you with that slot. You can of course use our advanced search field up top here to find the site. I'm going to go ahead and just select a site available from my list at the bottom here. So I'm going to click on that particular site. And on the site's landing page, I'm going to go over to the right-hand menu and I am going to look for slots on the right-hand menu here, so kind of in the middle there. So I'm going to click on the slots item there. And here it's going to take me to the slots landing page. So up at the top, more information about the site, which is great. And then you'll notice we have this blue kind of row here that allows you to select the year. So this drop down will always, default to the current calendar year that we are in. But, a lot of times you're placing in advance. So it is possible that you may need to click this and find the appropriate year, whichever applies. So just keep that in mind. Otherwise, if you're looking for 2019 or the current year, you're good to go. So then once you've selected the year, we're going to scroll down to the placement slots box here. And what this does, or this section is for, is that it's going to list out all of my sessions that fall under that particular year. So here I have quite a few sessions along with their dates. So I'm going to locate the session that particular site offered me a slot for. So I'm just going to use my first session here, and you'll notice on the right that we have a slots offered column, and I'm going to go ahead and click on add slot. Then we have a nice add slot, pop-up window that will appear. Definitely don't feel overwhelmed. It is lots of information, but most of the fields are optional. So if you don't have all the information, that's completely fine. So the first required field that you do have to fill out is the setting. So you'll click here, you'll find from your available list of settings, which setting the slot or the site offered you a slot for. Then we have the number of students, so another required section. So you'll input how many students they said that they could take, whether it be 1, 2, or more. Then we have the type of supervision. So if the site did provide you with the model of supervision, whether 1-to-1, 1-to-2, you can feel free to mark that if that applies here. Requirement criteria. So if you are using our required clinical section in the system, so you're tracking specific settings that the students need to complete in order to graduate, you can click the select option and you'll see your requirement criteria populate here. But if you're not using that, don't worry about it. You won't see anything in this menu and you can skip over that. Interview required. If the site did ask you that they'd like to interview your student before officially confirming, you could toggle this bit to yes so you can be reminded of that. Do students need to upload resume? So if the site, maybe requires a resume for the student and you want to be mindful of that information, you can select that to yes or no. Offered on first come first served basis. So some of our clients are in more saturated areas of the country where a lot of sites tend to offer these first come first served basis. So whoever can provide me with a student name fast enough is someone who would get the slot. So if that is the case for this particular offering, you can certainly mark that and just it will help remind you that this is more time sensitive than maybe other slots. Must be filled. This is kind of nice. We have some color coding involved when you actually end up assigning a student. But what this means is if maybe the site, it was difficult for them to offer you the slot and you just want to be reminded that you do in fact have to send a student here. So if you do want to be reminded of that, you can turn that on as well. Offered through consortium. So if you do have a consortium in your area and this slot was provided through that sort of process, feel free to also mark that yes or no. has been requested by student. So if the student specifically asked you, to reach out to the site, they wanted to go here, and again, you just wanted to be reminded of that information, feel free to mark that yes or no as well. Active, this just means that the slot is active in your system, so available for you to eventually assign a student to. Status, so the other required field. If you click on your menu options, yours may look a little bit different than what's shown here, but you'll want to select the correct status of the slot at this point in time. So is it confirmed and officially, locked down with the site? Did they cancel on you? Is it more tentative? Maybe you're reaching out still or discussing logistics. So definitely put the appropriate status there. Then we have some other optional note sections. We have a space for you to describe the patient population if they provided you with that information. A note section for students, so if you have anything you want to share with the students. And then, of course, just notes for you. So if you'd like to, write information about the discussion you had with them or when they confirmed the slot, those are all good things that you can provide in the note section. At the very bottom too, you'll also notice an updated by section. So it will tell you the last time someone updated this information and the date and who actually inserted this slot into the system and when. So it can help keep track of that information. So once you're done kind of configuring this section, making your decisions and putting information in about the slot, you're going to go ahead and click Save and Close. And now we're going to see our new slot added for this particular session. So I created this slot here. I see the setting. I see the number of students they can take in that purple bubble there. And you'll notice that it's in a green bubble right now, and that just means that it is an active slot. So we do not have a student assigned to that slot yet. You'll notice down here where some of the other slots that I have for a different session, we see this orange color. If I hover over that, that means a student has been placed there, and so you can always see that information. If I have more of this like grayish color, that means the slot was made inactive. So, maybe the site canceled or something like that. And if you ever see a red bubble, that just means that the status is showing that it's not confirmed by the site yet. So definitely some color coding options on this page to kind of help you quickly identify the status of some of these slots. So that is how you add a slot into the system. Thanks so much. I hope that was helpful.